What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, April 6th, 2021, a Widow Wednesday. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller. Here's what I want you guys to know. Gary, hey, how are you? It's good to have you on the show. Yada, yada, yada. Same old thing we always do, right? I am so fucking juiced right now, all right? I had a nice coffee. I'm going to finish this off. It's going to be great, Gary. And then there's all this E3 news to talk about. At the Rogue One, Gary Witta, how the hell are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. I was fascinated by that conversation we were just having before we went live about whether or not there'd be a market for a gamer chair that's also a toilet.
So for the record, this was a you and Kevin conversation, all right?
No, you were quite heavily involved as well, Greg. Don't try to shake this off now.
I just want you to know, I was thinking about it when we were getting ready for the show. This is, the show's lead story about E3 is back. We have E3 2021 details. E3 is what I like to call YouTube gold, Gary. People come out of the woodwork to watch videos about it. So many new viewers are watching Kind of Funny for the first time. And I agree.
That's great.
Let's start here and talk about how you were talking about when you just went to go to the bathroom to take a number two.
Yes.
You had your wireless headphones on. You could still hear us.
And then
when you turned off your camera when you left, I made the joke that, yes, maybe Gary's going right there. Maybe Gary's chair is a toilet. And now you and Kevin have come up with the idea to sell
now we have a viable business proposition.
Kevin, how do you feel about this? This is your legacy.
Not good, if I'm being totally honest. I don't feel good about any of this. You know what I mean? It's just, the thing was, in your example, you said like, oh, what if he's just going right there? My response was like, what if the camera just turns on? We see him squatting in the middle there, and I was just like, that would be horrendous. And I don't
He's
know
using
that I
trash
could work.
can over his right shoulder. That's what has his bathroom right there.
I don't know that I could continue to work with Gary if I saw that. I'm sorry, Gary.
Well, the great news is this is why the potty gamer chair would never work. Is if there'd be, it would happen where people would click their cameras on by accident, and then it's an image of them shitting, and then they're banned from Twitch. It would never happen. We couldn't do it.
But the point, it would be off camera, so it's not like you're taking a shit right on the stream. Like, it would be safely off camera. Like, I could be naked below the waist here. You wouldn't know,
and then one day
right?
your camera tips over, and guess what?
And that would be a whole
and we're all
problem.
banned. That's the end of it.
With the new DX Racer Frag Crapper, you can shit right through the ownage. You no longer have to stop to take number two on your quest to be number one. I'm telling you,
made that up right now.
People are going to buy this product.
Good. The frag
people in the chat
that...
have been saying they'd go buy it. Oh, there's plenty of people out here saying they'd be all over it. Don't worry about that part.
One question I do have: would this have a bidet function? Because I feel like you kind of have to, so that the wiping is.
Yeah, it would all be taken care of. The whole service, soup to nuts. The shitting, the wiping, the flushing, everything. An NVIDIA broadcast will even filter out, you would do a deal with NVIDIA broadcast, like plug that into the chair so that the shitting, any kind of straining sounds you might be doing, the plop as it hits the water, the flushing, the wiping, the whole thing, it's all filtered out through GeForce technology.
Well, it's
so you
using
never
the
even hear any of that.
Blue microphone technology, right? That it keeps
whatever corporate business, whatever partnership is the most lucrative.
Sure, yeah. You're Shark Tanking right now, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing here. Who wants to answer the call? Is it Logitech? Is it Blue Microphone?
So we know that a lot of business leaders in the industry listen to this podcast. I fully expect that I'll have 15 DMs when I go back to my desk from Logitech, from Blue, from Herman Miller, from Elgato, from DX Racer, fucking Steel Series,
Lazy
you
Boy.
name it.
Lazy Boy's been looking to get into this gaming chair game for a long time.
Lazy Boy wants to get into the esports market. This is the way in. Let's fucking do it.
Well, new listeners, welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily. Usually we talk about the news of the day, such as the fact that E3 is back, PlayStation Now's editions show Xbox's superiority, and Animal Crossing Build-A-Bears are ruining people's lives. Let's talk about all that and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. On patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can be part of the show by asking us questions about the day's news. You, of course, can get the show ad-free. You can get each and every episode 5 days a week with the exclusive post-show we do. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames for all those exclusive benefits, no big deal. You can watch us record the show live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, just like Next Level Nick is, Mr. Yasman300 is, and Joelville are. Of course, if you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Housekeeping for you, ladies and gentlemen. There is a new PS I Love You XOXO up right now. It's talking all about Ratchet and Clank. It's me, it's Joey, it's Blessing Adeoye Jr. Reviewing Ratchet and Clank 2016, talking about our hopes for Rift Apart, and then getting into, of course, the crazy news that the XCast had the exclusive on MLB The Show 21 coming to Xbox Game Pass, and how crazy that is. Of course, PS I Love You XOXO is available on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe. No matter where you choose to get it, please like, subscribe, share, click the bell, and leave a review. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mick, aka @TheNanobiologist, Tom Bock, Trent, Berrie, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Honey and Fixture Gaming, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 4 items on the Roper Report.
Oh, Baker's dozen!
Number 1, ladies and gentlemen, E3 is back. We turn to the press release from the ESA. It reads like this: "It's game on for E3." Oof. As the Entertainment Software Association, the ESA officially unveils plans for a reimagined, all-virtual E3 2021 that will engage video game fans everywhere. With early commitments from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, and Koch Media, and more to come, E3 2021 will take place June 12th through the 15th. Developers will be showcasing their latest news and games directly to fans around the world. The ESA will be working with media partners globally to help amplify and make this content available to everyone for free. Quote, "For more than 2 decades, E3 has been the premier venue to showcase the best that the video game industry has to offer while uniting the world through games," said Stanley Pierre-Louis, president and CEO of the ESA. "We are evolving this year's E3 into a more inclusive event, but we'll still look to excite the fans with major reveals and insider opportunities that make the event the indispensable center stage for video games. While maintaining E3's long-standing position as a central destination for industry networking, where new partnerships and connections between video game publishers, developer, and media are made, the digital format for E3 2021 means more people than ever can participate. This was a kicker. The ESA looks forward to you coming back together to celebrate E3 2022 in person. In the meantime, see you online this June." Gary, I have comments from around the industry, mainly Phil Spencer and Jeff Grubb. But for right now, give me your hot take. An all-new, reimagined, all-virtual E3 2021 featuring actual big publishers. How do you feel about it?
I guess I'm for it. I think virtual events, in June, I think it's still appropriate. We're obviously not going to be ready to go back, to mass gatherings. Obviously things are looking way, way better. The COVID situation, we are finally turning the corner. I think, hopefully by Christmas, Thanksgiving, we'll be back to something like normal. I still think that Comic-Con at Thanksgiving is really dumb.
Dumb idea for sure.
I think a virtual event is the way to go. Like, love it or hate it, E3 has now become it's a part of the gaming calendar, right? It's just something we expect to happen every year. I'm old enough to remember the very first E3. I went to it. I've seen the history of E3 unfold now over many, many years, and it's been a fascinating thing to look back at. Someone should write a book about it someday, like the history of E3 and all the different kind of permiutations and
I think they're just waiting for it to end. When it's over, they can give you the definitive history.
Any moment now. E3 RIP, and they can Jason Schreier or someone can write or Jeffy Grubb if he's in the chat can write.
Don't be giving up the titles for free, Gary. That's why you got to be brought on a consultant. Remember?
I know that's my problem. I give up too much gold for free. That's my problem, Greg. I can't help myself. You know, I don't know if you remember the year that was in Atlanta. It was awful.
Oh, yeah.
That Atlanta E3 was a mess. Do you remember when it was shrunk right down to like a business only event and it was not open to consumers? They just financially they couldn't make it viable as a consumer event. They shrunk it right down to like a business and media event only for a couple of years.
It was designed to be for a long time, right? And are you talking about Santa Monica though, when they moved away from the LA Convention Center and they just had
it was like a massively shrunken down version of E3, and then it came back again to the public. And obviously they struggled last year. You know, we all remember the conversations this time last year. Oh, is there going to be an E3? Well, of course, there was never going to be an E3. I remember saying it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You were ahead of the curve.
I mean, listen, I could imagine if I'd have said a year ago, hey, Greg, not only is there going to be an E3, no E3 this year, this situation is so fucked with this new coronavirus thing that we're all just now hearing about. There's not even going to be an E3 in person next year. That's how bad this is. Everyone would have gone, oh my God, alarmist, Gary, what's he talking about? And yet here we are. That's how bad it really has been. So a virtual event is the way forward. I actually just got invited to participate in something to do. I don't know what it is, but like someone from E3 reached out to me and said, hey, you want to do something?
See, I was going to say, those are the wheels turning. I know those wheels well. That's when, like, am I about to say something embargoed?
No. I'm not, you know, it's like, you know, and I don't think I don't have any details yet. I just know that, you know, that I might be involved in something to do at E3 in some way. I'm not sure yet. And in terms of details, I don't think, even if I knew details, I don't think I'd be allowed to tell you because there are always NDAs about this thing. But I think, you know, I might be involved in E3. So hey, remember last year it was like I will be available for socializing. Well, again, look how that went. So I might be available for virtual socializing. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, look, I guess it's a good thing. If people like E3, they enjoy, you know, we all enjoy the convention. What's, you know, we got Ubisoft coming up. What crazy shit are they going to do? What, you know, Devolver Digital, what are they, you know, what madness are they up to? E3 and Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo all going at it. We don't even know like who's going to be showing up in terms of the big players yet, but like it's just
Xbox and Nintendo. There's a lot to dissect here.
It's, you know, it's like Easter. Nobody really wants to do it, but like it's part of the calendar.
Fucking crazy. People love E3 and want to do E3. I think especially after last year.
You're going to defend Easter.
No, I don't. Fuck Easter. Whatever. Get out of here. Easter is that holiday. It's like, I guess, go see your family. Let the kids get eggs. I don't understand what's going on. E3, I'm excited by this. I'm excited about this. And of course, I'm tentatively excited. You don't know, right? ESA's had so much turnover that it's not the same ESA that banned me from coming to E3 and then leaked my personal information.
When you were banned that time? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if this is a hard thing to do, right? And I hope that the new people in there understand how to counteract what was a shit show last year of them not canceling E3 in person for a long time. Then they did it. Then they were like, but we'll still be doing something digital if you want to come. Like, remember how bad the messaging was, how late the messaging was?
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, they held out well past the point that it was obvious that it was going to be viable.
And so my thing here is like, this is what we've talked about in the aftermath of the Summer Game Mess 2020. Thank you, Jeffy Grub, right? Of just like, it went on too long. There were a gajillion events. Games were being doubled up on. Like, I want it to be a contained thing. So if the ESA is actually committed and like, you know, with early commitments from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers, and Koch Media, like if they actually have everything pulled together in some kind of like, we have everybody playing the, you know, it is going to be the Xbox summer event here. Like, I like the idea of it being, hey, there's 12th through the 15th, there's stuff going on. You know what's happening. This is where we can go. It's a condensed, exciting event. And you assume that EA Play, you know, that I was reading IGN, a whole bunch of hot takes from everybody else in there, right? There's a bunch of call outs that, you know, well, EA's not on here and PlayStation's not on here and like a whole bunch of other people too. But EA and PlayStation haven't been part of real E3 in quotes for years now, right? So I totally expect if this is happening June 12th, then I haven't looked at the calendar, June 11th and June 10th or whatever is going to be EA Play, and they're doing their thing there. Same for PlayStation. If I think, you know, we have a question actually coming up about what they're doing, but they'll do it when they're ready. Like, I like the idea of, number one, ESA saying we're going to grab the wheel, because that's what I wanted Keighley to do last year. When this all fell apart last year, I hope Jeff was going to be like, boom, hold on a second, I will do this. I'm going to make sure everybody goes when they should go. There's a semblance of order to it when there really wasn't, I felt, last year. So if ESA is going to do that and grab the wheel and say, hey, this is what E3 is going to be this year. These are the people we have on board. That's the bigger thing. The fact that they say they have commitments from Nintendo and Xbox pique my interest for sure. Of, okay, what does this really look like? Is this going to be the Nintendo Direct? Is this going to be the Xbox press conference that will be the straight up, here's what you're getting from us in the normal E3 time period. This is what's going on. Obviously, this year, 2021, we're not building to console launches. So I doubt Xbox and PlayStation have as much to say, as many PR beats they want to hit in terms of state of plays, or Xbox doing the multiple summer events last year. I'm interested to see if they go out and they go big for it. And so I will right here, let's bring in Phil Spencer, of course, lead of Xbox, who tweeted this. Glad to see the game industry coming together in June for a digital E3. This and other summer events are proof that our industry is strongest when we work together. Looking forward to sharing what we have in store this summer. From IGN, Mark Medina tweeted this. It seems like Bethesda is getting lumped into the Xbox show, which is kind of too bad. I liked Bethesda having its own thing, and he means conference thing. To which Jeffy Grubb, of course, from GamesBeat responded, it'll be the same stream and Xbox will lead directly into Bethesda, but there will be delineation. Somebody asked Jeff, like, if he was confirmed on that or not. I haven't looked over to the chat to see if Jeff's in our chat today, but he was able to pop in there sounding like he has inside information on what the Xbox look of it would be. And again, that gets me fucking super excited that it is going to be a traditional, in quotes, Xbox E3 presentation that they then do the baton pass of like, now let's hear from our, not friends anymore, right? Our collaborators, our partners at Bethesda on what they have coming. And then you have, Todd Howard and Pete Hines come out and fucking blow your doors off there. Like, I like that. I want all these get hype moments again. I want it to be contained because I felt so bad. Gary, when we started doing the Kind of Funny Game Showcase, we were doing that to give people smaller games an avenue to get eyes on them. When we did the first one, when PSX didn't happen and there was no more avenue there for games to be shown, we did it there because we wanted those games to have an avenue. And we did one for E3, right, for independent games in 2019. And then for 2020, it was that thing. We didn't do one because we knew so many people wanted to do their own. And then it became what I was always so terrified of, that by the time you got to mid-July, even August, people were burnt out. They weren't paying attention. And not to mention when there's nobody who is sitting there being like, hey, we're in charge of programming for this, you're getting conferences that go on far too long. I love Xbox. I love what they're doing. I love how they're spotlighting games. They did that 4-hour ID at Xbox a couple Fridays ago. If you're an independent game at the 3-hour and 15-minute mark, are people still going to be like, oh yeah, that game, that's what I need? It's so hard to do this and keep the excitement up. I'd rather have it all be boiled down. We get a whole bunch of stuff. And then the tail after that is hey, let's get a deep dive. Hey, let's go have an exclusive. Hey, we're going to Kind of Funny to show a game on a stream or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of approach they take. It's a very, very different skill set, both technically and in terms of the creative approach, mounting an in-person show and a fully virtual event, sure. Right? You have to come at it from completely, different angle. Some of the energy is inevitably going to be lost. You cannot, even when you're watching at home, when you're watching that live event, we all remember when Keanu came out on the stage and everyone lost their shit, and the audience was like even when you're watching at home, like you feel like you're part of that energy, right? You're not going to have that. There's no live crowd for Phil Spencer or whoever to work off of. That's why we've had these very like the Mark Cerny thing, and even some of the more upbeat events that we've seen where you're playing to like basically an empty room, a virtual room. It's like how do you replicate that in person energy? So it's going to be an interesting challenge for the ESA to see how they pull this off, how they try to capture as much of the in-person excitement as they usually get with these live events in a virtual setting. We've seen some examples of it, again with Jeff Keighley's summer event. IGN had its own summer event last year where they obviously learned a lot about like how to stage this kind of stuff, jumping from one showcase to another and coming up with a whole slate of programming that feels like one contiguous thing. It's this is a big ESA has had, they've had the better part of a year to plan for this, right? They probably knew they were going to have to do if they were going to do, COVID would not probably be completely clear by now. We've known that for months. If E3 was going to go ahead, they would better start planning for a virtual event months ago. So hopefully they're already like pretty deep into figuring out what this needs to look like. It's obviously very, very close now. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. It'll be very, very different in many ways from the live events we're used to. The question is how close can they come to capturing that kind of live energy when there isn't a live audience? Totally.
Yeah. And then keeping the hype train moving, right? And keeping everybody in line, keeping all your ducks in a row. I want to bring in Borzen00, who writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can. It says, good morning, Greg and Gary. The virtual E3 plans were shown this morning, and all the usual suspects seem to be showing up. However, one name showing up that strikes me as odd is Microsoft. You see, ever since E3 2018, Microsoft has had a booth at E3, but rather, it has had a booth at E3, but rather at the Microsoft Theater. You know what he's trying to say there. And the booth that was at E3 was, if I remember correctly, dedicated for Mixer. Well, Mixer is no longer a thing, and Microsoft has been doing their own thing, just like Sony and Nintendo for a few years now, which makes me ask, what is Microsoft doing at E3? Are they trying to show unity in a time of uncertainty, or are they listing them because they are still part of the ESA? Do you guys think Microsoft will have a booth at E3 2022, or will they just be at the Microsoft Theater 5 minutes away? So, Borzen asked a couple different questions, and I think the most important one for where we are right now with the conversation is, what is Microsoft doing at E3, and why are they doing this at E3? Are this just because ESA? Is it platitudes? I don't think it is. I think this is Microsoft committing to doing their big E3 summer event as part of E3 rather than doing it around it, rather than doing it later. I think it is them supporting it. And like you ask, why are they doing this, Borzen? Is it time to show unity? It's sure trying to show unity, of course. I mean, Phil's quote is literally, proof that our industry is strongest when we work together. But I think what it honestly is Microsoft and Phil Spencer in particular committing, and as I've always talked about with them, right? Talking the talk and walking the walk. It is them coming out and being like, no, we're personable and we are this industry, and Xbox Game Pass has all of our partners on it. Like, we want to be a part of where everyone is. If there's going to be a giant Avengers kind of moment for video games, we want to be a part of that. It is about strongest when we work together. It is strongest when we are together. And it sounds goofy and weird, but I think it speaks volumes. I think it's crazy that this news dropped and Phil had a tweet ready to go. And what do you have from PlayStation? Nothing. Silence. Because again, who would you look to on the PlayStation side to give you that kind of clarity and that kind of personality? Nobody. I love Shu, but that hasn't been Shu's role for years, right? Herman talks about Worldwide Studios, and Jim Ryan doesn't have a presence outside of a Wired interview here and there. This is yet again Microsoft being the Microsoft they have been trying to be this entire generation. I say that since Phil took over. We just celebrated 7 years, right? It is them trying to be the thought leaders and the personalities of the video game industry. And so, yeah, what is Microsoft doing at E3? They are being Xbox. They are being what Xbox is in 2021. They are being Xbox Game Pass, and they will be out there in front being personable and showing you the people that are Xbox. It will be Phil. It will be Aaron Greenberg. It will be Major Nelson. It will be Bonnie. Who was just on the Xcast? Gary? Why am I blanking on her name?
Sarah Bond?
Yes, Sarah Bond, right? It will be all these people that you get to know because they are the Xbox brand. And guess what? They want it to be that all these games you're seeing at E3 are available on Xbox. And with PlayStation not being there and Nintendo being there, but, being differently, like, that's what they want it to be. That's where they want to be. I think that's what Xbox's strength is, Gary. It is not being afraid to collaborate. I think you see more and more with Xbox in particular in the video game industry, but in terms of the big three publishers and people, Xbox being the one that is taking to heart the lessons we all learned when we started doing YouTube, which is there is no competition, there's only collaboration. And so, yeah, we should be guesting on more people's content. We should be doing all this different stuff. And I know I'm using a bunch of loose terms here to talk about it, but it is the fact that there are no walls. It was so weird to see at the Game Awards, right? Reggie, Phil, and Sean come out that one time, and you're like, oh my God, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo are all on one stage, right? Like, that was weird, not because Phil was there. That was weird because the other two buttoned up companies were there. Phil Spencer, I think we could invite on PS I Love You XOXO, and he'd show up and talk about his favorite PlayStation games.
I mean, he showed up on my talk show, which was inside Animal Crossing. That was right. A Nintendo thing, and everyone's like,
"It's not even hypothetical."
Great call. In a Nintendo game, cats and dogs living together. But I mean, yeah, I think there's a whole separate conversation to be had about how the different companies are projecting themselves right now. And Xbox, I think, is coming across as very friendly and accessible, and PlayStation is just seeming like a bit of a stuffed shirt, like a bit stiff. They're just not as good at communication. as Xbox. I don't think I made this point on the Xcast the other day, and in the chat I was like, "Oh, fucking, you're such a bunch of fucking Xbox fanboys." Yeah, fucking guess what? It's an Xbox podcast. You know, we are Xbox fans. If you have a problem, I don't know, fuck off, I guess. Look, I so far as E3 goes, I still don't quite understand the overall point of it. Like for indies and for smaller companies that for whom it's an opportunity to get into be in a bigger spotlight. It's like the spotlight's on the big companies, and the indies can kind of be there as well, and like maybe get some exposure they wouldn't otherwise get. But I never quite understood it from the point of view of Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo. They're big enough that they can do their own event whenever they want, and people are going to watch, right? Sure. Anytime and Microsoft does an event, or anytime Sony does State of Play, or Nintendo does a Direct, people watch. They don't need an additional reason like E3 for people to pay attention to their next big announcement. But when they do it at E3, you're getting that additional spotlight. Again, not that they need it, but it's also like, okay, Microsoft does a big thing in the afternoon, and they get basically a few hours of being at the top of the, Kotaku and Polygon and IGN and whatever. But then Sony does its event in the afternoon, and they're bumped because now it's like that news is a few hours newer. So I'm really not quite sure why it is that these companies are willing to kind of cannibalize each other. Like they've got these big announcements that they can only make once a year, and they make them at E3, and they all cannibalize each other because our attention is being pulled from Microsoft to Sony to Bethesda to Ubisoft to EA over the course of a few days. I guess generally I just don't see the point of E3 for these big companies. For smaller indies, yes. For the big companies, I don't know why they bother. It's like Apple doesn't go to CES. They don't fucking need to. They just do their own events because they know people are going to watch every Apple event just for its, in its own right.
Sure. But again, I think what I would dial it back to here, right, is yes, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo can all go do their own thing and people will come for sure. So let's right now, though, to Borzen's question, talk about Microsoft and why they would come and do their thing at E3 in a more group setting, right? I think it's coming in and it's back to how wrestling works and having a main event and having people are going to tune in to see Microsoft, but hopefully they come and they see the stuff before it. They see these other things. And again, Microsoft and Xbox and Phil are working in a way that is far different than PlayStation, where PlayStation is saying, we are siloed, we are PlayStation, we are over here, come watch our shit when we do our shit. Whereas I think Xbox is trying to do and talk the talk, walk the walk of being good for the industry and trying to get share their spotlight and have it bring up other people, right? They're trying to kick the ladder back down for the smaller games that will be coming to Xbox Game Pass, that will be on the platform. And again, if you're especially if you're Microsoft and you're trying to get people to convert to picking up an Xbox, convert to being an Xbox audience, I think it's so much easier to be like, hey, there's 3 days or whatever, 5 days, whatever, 12 to the 15th. What would that be actually technically days-wise? There's all these days of content, and I can play it all on my Xbox. It's all right there for me. I don't do it often, Gary Whitta, but there was one of these people flapping their gums in the Twitch chat, so I invited them to come on in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Kind of Funny Xcast, Paris Lily.
Oh, what is going on, Greg and Gary? I heard what you said, Greg.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. I've been going to E3 for 20 years. I get that week of everyone being together and all that, but to me, it's been different since about 2017, I would want to say, where you were slowly starting to see everyone leave anyways. Like, sure. EA is gone, PlayStation is gone, Xbox was basically gone. They were across the street, but they weren't doing anything on the convention floor, right? I mean, most of the stuff as a media we were doing offsite anyways. So when last summer happened, and I completely agree with you, last summer was chaos. I don't want to see a repeat of that, but I also don't want to see all of the summer gaming announcements condensed into this 3-day period, right? Like you had mentioned, okay, EA Play would probably happen on like the 10th or the 11th, and maybe PlayStation does something before. I don't need all that gaming news condensed into that week, especially in the digital format. I would rather see it be a little more organized and slightly spaced out more. So let's just take Xbox as an example, right? Because sure. I guess I'm an Xbox fanboy, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? But Gary said it best. Yeah. Xbox is now going to do, Grubby Grub is saying they're going to potentially have their normal event followed right behind Bethesda. Do I literally need that on the same day that potentially, I don't know, Ubisoft and Activision were to do their events, just, saying randomly? No, I would rather them have this big event and then we have a couple of days to digest it and we're getting additional information from other personalities with Xbox, and we can kind of fully flesh out all the other games that are coming from Xbox versus, all right, let's move on to the next thing, and then things get lost in the shuffle. That's why I think these digital events where, like Gary said, PlayStation doesn't need E3 clearly because they're gone. EA doesn't need E3 clearly because they're gone. They can have an event on their terms over a few day period, and they can own that news cycle. And as gamers, we can consume all the content that they're trying to present to us versus the old way that we were doing it, which was, the in-person E3. I don't think it translates to a digital format. But I do agree with you. I think Jeff Keighley had a great opportunity last summer to kind of wrangle all this together and get it organized, so to speak. I know IGN was doing their summer things and all that, so I don't want to see just a repeat of that and it's stretched out over the entire summer.
Yeah.
But I do think it could happen over a couple week period, and it allows everyone to get their moment in the sun, so we get to see their games in the spotlight. And again, this is nothing against the ESA or I hate E3. Obviously, I would love to go back to the JW again and do all that stuff, but sure, I don't think it works in a digital format. Not the way that they're promoting it.
I'll be fascinated because I think we're in this weird chasm period, right? Where I understand your argument as well. And I think especially when we go back and dial it to like thinking of E3 2019, where it is that thing of like, well, why is everybody doing this? Like, why, like E3 is great and it's cool to go and yada, yada, yada. But it's like, with the ability to have your own direct, with your ability to make your own videos, why would you do this? And then last year we saw, I think, the wrong way of it, just too extended. What I think will be interesting is if, they're talking about a reimagined all virtual E3 2021. If this is cool, it's early commits from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Warner Brothers, and Coke, right? What if it's just them and maybe a couple more? Then I would think you start thinking about, well, what does that actually look like? Nintendo has a direct, sure. Xbox has its thing with Bethesda, sure. But then when you get to your Capcoms, your Konamis, your Warner Brothers games, right? Would they have done their own conference, or is their stuff being included in a more of a third party? Here's a whatever you want to call it. I don't know, some kind of showcase they're doing for E3. You know what I mean? Where they're doing something that way, where it isn't that cool. You're being overloaded. Like it's like, cool, we got the 3-hour long Xbox Bethesda conference. Then after that, you get an hour of Capcom. Konami's doing an hour and a half. What the hell? What if it is these commitments are all put into a more bite-sized programming thing where they are spread out that way, and you are instead focusing on, cool, here's what Capcom's bringing to Monster Hunter Rise and what's next for Resident Evil. Warner Brothers games is, here's the Harry Potter game, here's the Batman game, maybe here's another, cinematic for Suicide Squad. Like it's commitments, but not full-blown press conferences. Maybe that's what they mean by reimagined. And when you have it that way, I think it gets really interesting of, cool, let's bring together the smaller announcements and put them here. And then, yes, PlayStation, you can do a big thing later on. Xbox, you're beholden to no one, right? You're doing something at E3, but guess what? 2 of the games that you were working on, they're not going to be ready in time. So you're doing something also in August where I think as long just a more compacted, here are the smaller announcements, here are the AA announcements, here aren't the huge things, could be beneficial.
I agree with you, and I actually think it's probably going to be something closer to that because, again, let's just take PlayStation as an example. I don't see PlayStation doing something at E3 where they show off the next God of War and Horizon Forbidden West. They're probably going to want to do that at their own self-contained event where the news cycle is all about them. It's not about anyone else. Same with Xbox. I don't see them showing Starfield during this, right? They're going to probably do it at a later date. I think what Phil Spencer says is correct. It is better when we all do it together. But at the same time, because again, Phil, you always got to read into what he says. He goes in other gaming events. I think because they're still going to do their own thing outside of the ESA. They're probably going to show some of their lesser titles at this ESA event, the E3 event, but then they're still going to have the big show where we see Halo Infinite, we see Starfield, we see Perfect Dark, and all this other stuff. So in that sense, okay, fine, let's do it. But as long as we're not trying to cram every gaming announcement into a 3-day period, I'm fine with it. I don't mind E3 kicking off the conversation, but I still think we're going to have more, throughout the summer.
Greg Miller's prediction is that yes, at the Xbox E3, whatever they're doing with the ESA E3 thing and the Bethesda thing, you see Starfield there. I do think they do it there.
I'll actually, Paris, if you want to make it interesting, I'll have a side bet with you because I think they will show more of Starfield
at E3.
Yeah, at E3.
Yeah, see, I disagree. We can bet whatever you want because I definitely disagree.
We'll talk about stakes later, but we'll set up a little side action.
Reading into the Phil thing, this and other summer game events are proof our industry is strongest when we work together. I think that's Phil trying to make sure that he's leaving the doors open. Yes, that he's not trying to piss off Keighley with the Summer Game Fest, and he's not also if IGN's has IGN announced if they're doing their thing again, anything like that, or that they're going to show up at another Guerrilla Collective if they're doing a Guerrilla Collective. I think I saw them put out submissions for it. Like I think that's what he's doing there, and yeah, it does obviously leave the door open for Xbox stuff to be there as well.
A lot of people in the chat are saying stakes. I'll do this with you, Paris. Whoever wins, $100. Listen, what? This is me. Stay out of this, Greg.
But I started. Literally, I was like, I'm making the bet with Paris. You're like, I'll do a side bet that's the exact same bet.
That's just like a sports. There's no. You got to put something on the table, Greg. What are you willing to put in the middle?
No, Gary, you're not listening. I was in the middle of it. Greg was making the bet with, and you just decided to ignore that.
No. But you got to put something up. You got to put up some stakes.
Yes, he was making the bet. You interrupted
me. Okay, fine. All right, fine.
It's fine. Gary, have it your way. Lakers head 2-4-3-2 in the chat says stay out of this, Greg. I'm staying out of it. Paris, turn on your camera. I'll turn off my camera. It's an XCast now.
All right, goodbye. See you later. I'm done. I'm out.
I said for Paris. You son of a bitch, Gary. You know what I mean?
Here's the bet. Here's the bet. Gary doesn't listen. I'm dying. Here's the bet. The loser has to eat Khalif Adams cooking. There you go.
Oh, God, a fate worse than death.
Is Gary really gone?
No, he's there. He's just pouting. Now we're
that's
making
hilarious.
A big deal.
All right, I will let you get back to your show. I just wanted to chime in on that.
If Gary doesn't come back in 3 minutes, you got to come in and finish the show with me. All
right, I will. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, the Rogue One at Gary Whitta.
I love you, Greg.
I love you too, buddy. This is fun. I knew it would be a fun show, and here we are doing a fun show. E3 is awesome. We've hammered about it. Adam F. wrote in, I don't want to do much. PlayStation's not participating. What do you think Sony's plans are for this year? I think Sony's plans for this year for them putting out their games is whatever serves their games best. I think you'll continue to see state of plays, and I think you'll continue to see dialed in state of plays about like, cool, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and then at the end, we're going to talk about Ratchet and Clank. Like, right, okay, cool, we're doing a dialed in one, and at the end, we'll talk about what's going on with Horizon Forbidden West. Like, I think you'll continue to see them do more smaller ones that are very specific about what's happening, and then obviously announcements surrounding those things. But I don't think you're going to see from PlayStation a big boom, let's go, here's Ratchet, here's Horizon, here's God of War. Like, I don't think it'll be that kind of way with it. And then one final thing before we get out of here, or for this number one of 4 stories. Sapphire Diamond Ruby wrote in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, and says, hey, Greg and Gary, with the announcement of E3 coming back with several large publishers joining in, would love to hear one Tim get hype moment from both of you that you'd love to see. Doesn't need to be realistic, can be a dream announcement, shoot for the stars. Gary, from what you know about E3 2021, all new, all virtual, what would you like to see?
I don't know. I would like to see. Do you think Nintendo would do any of the next gen Switch stuff there, or do you think that would be their own event, wouldn't it?
Dude, I wouldn't put it past them. That's not unheard of. And again, we're kind of in this weird thing of like how much they have commitments from these people. What do the commitments look like? But yeah, you'd expect that Switch Pro would be there. Yeah,
I think from the Microsoft side, you'll probably get a big chunk of Halo Infinite. I think hopefully Fable would be the thing I would probably that's the thing that Microsoft has in development right now that I'm most excited about is the next Fable game. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. They showed, virtually nothing of it when they first did that reveal, just like a brief cinematic. Geez, I don't know. I've got a wish list of things that I wanted. We've said before on the X-Files about how we would love someone, whoever, Microsoft, Sony, whoever, to come in and swoop in and just buy all the Konami video game IP so that, Silent Hill and...
Don't steal my shit. Yeah, Konami's listed on here. They've got a commitment from Konami.
Whether or not that would, that's not something that would happen to E3. That's just something I want to see happen generally. But yeah, I've got, I've got a wish list of things I would love to see happen in games a mile long. Whether or not they'll happen at E3, Who the fuck knows?
Konami announces Kojima production Silent Hill. You know what I mean? Come on, let's go. They've made up and they're going. That's what the thing we've talked about forever as a rumor with PlayStation stuff.
I don't think they'll ever make. I mean, there's too much bad blood.
The point that he said it get hype moment. He didn't say
that we made. Look at all this is the point we made on the XCast a couple of weeks ago. Look at all the moves that Microsoft is making right now. Bethesda, Discord, MLB, Outriders on Game Pass, all of this stuff. We said, why doesn't Phil? Because we know he listens to the show. We're saying, Phil, get on a plane, get out to Konami, say, hey, look, you've got all these great IP sitting on a shelf. Yeah, keep making your pachinko machines and your slot machines. But these video. Why don't you let us take care of all of the video game franchises and we'll breathe life into them. Get it away from Konami, lure Kojima back to make a new Metal Gear Solid game. He gets to write his own ticket creatively. Mm-hmm. No Konami in the mix anymore, and you're off to the races. Why not do it?
I mean, I wish I could say this was exciting, but this is what I've said PlayStation should do for years. So it's like kind of like you're stealing my idea and trying to pass it off as an Xbox idea, which is weird because it was my idea, but no big deal.
The same way that the MLB on Game Pass thing was kind of viewed as a big slap in the face to Sony. This would be an even bigger slap in the face.
100%.
You're for these companies slapping each other in the face, Greg. That's what I want to see.
I love some good slaps. And that's one of the reasons, too. My other get hype moment would be that, for the Bethesda conference, they come out and announce Starfield's coming in 2022, so I can dance on John BX32's grave. Trying to tell me that's coming this year. Get the fuck out of here. Even though it might. Number 2 on the Roper Report. Let's talk about how PlayStation Now's new games aren't the PlayStation 5 versions and have no way to become the PlayStation 5 versions. This is Sammy Barker at Push Square. Sony's big PlayStation Now update this week is one of the best in a long time, with Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3 both part of the lineup, showcasing the company's commitment to the subscription service. However, it's also a demonstration of how messy the manufacturer's membership model is, as despite both these titles featuring free PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 upgrades, you'll only be able to play the last-gen version. There was some confusion regarding this earlier in the week, so we decided to test it out. Using our PlayStation Now subscription on PlayStation 5, we were able to stream the PS4 versions of each of the aforementioned titles. You can also download the games to your hard drive, but you can only download the last-gen versions. If you want to upgrade to the PS5 edition, then you'll need to effectively pay for the game. PlayStation Now, as it is right now, is a PlayStation 4 service. There are no PlayStation 5 games included on it. However, we do feel this once again underlines the messy transition that Sony's console is going through, with both Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3 offering native PS5 versions with free upgrades. Many PlayStation Now subscribers had rightfully assumed they'd get access to the next-gen ports as well. That was not the case. It is still a good update for the subscription service, but it's perhaps a reminder that the platform holder needs to go back to the drawing board a bit here. Despite efforts to improve the quality of PlayStation Now, which, to be fair, has been somewhat successful, it still doesn't feel like the firm is taking the service seriously. Hopefully by the end of the year, the organization will have revamped everything so misunderstandings like this cease to exist. Gary, again, as they call out in this article, again, this is Sammy Barker over at Push Square. Yes, PlayStation Now is in fact, of course, a PlayStation 4 service that you can use on your PlayStation 5. But as always, we're back to how smart delivery. Is it a buzzword? Is it something else? Yada, yada, yada for Xbox. And you get here and you have these incredibly annoying, goofy, weird scenarios that just suck.
I think, remember at the start of the Xbox One generation when Microsoft really made a mess of game sharing in their initial rollout, that even for physical games, you would be limited in how you could share them because of, kind of the back end stuff that they would do with your internet connection. It's like, even if you buy a physical copy of the game, you can only share it after 30 days or to this many people. And people were like, fuck off. And Sony, they fucking love that, right? They jump, the legendary Adam Boyes video. Here's how you share a game on PlayStation. Here you go. And it was like 5 seconds and everyone laughed and Microsoft looked like they punked Microsoft big time. Well, the shoe's on the other foot now because Sony has made a terrible, terrible hash of this cross-generational stuff where, the Avengers, getting your save across from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 is a mess. MLB, the show, and a bunch of other games, if you want to get both versions, you're paying double or you're paying extra for the super-duper, rip-off edition. Meanwhile, over on the Microsoft side, smart delivery, it all just works. It's as frictionless and backwards compatibility. It is as frictionless and as seamless as you could possibly hope for it to be. Over on Sony, it's a fucking mess. I'm sure they will fix it, but they got this wrong. And in the same way that Microsoft got game sharing wrong at the start of the Xbox One generation, they obviously very quickly backtracked and fixed it. How quickly Sony will figure out a way through this mess remains to be seen, because they do need to fix it. Because if you're looking at like point scoring right now between Xbox and Sony, which console should I get? If someone asked me that question, I would lay out the pros and cons. And one of the things you'd have to say is the cross generational stuff right now on Sony is a mess, but on Xbox it actually works really well.
100%. Yeah, PS I Love You, the topic of the show is Ratchet and Clank, but we have a long conversation about the show, Game Pass, and more importantly, a question that was written into this thing, that is, when is PlayStation going to get a huge win? Because it feels like it's just Xbox putting up big points lately on the board with Bethesda, with this show thing, with little things like this. And again, that's what matters right now. But, Bless and I have a long conversation about exactly what you're talking about, is that if somebody came up to you and was like, I'm thinking about getting a console, which one should I get? Like, you lay out all these services for Xbox and all the things they're doing that are pro gamer and how easy all that is. In PlayStation, obviously, you'd counter with, oh, well, it's got this exclusive library and all this different stuff. The PlayStation Plus collection is really great. There's all these things going on. But it would be this, okay, like, I don't care about those things. I want to play the baseball game. I want to play the sports game. I want all of the Madden games off of EA Play or whatever that are part of Game Pass. And there's this really interesting thing. So, like, I don't think there's much to go on. I just thought this was fascinating of like, oh, even this PlayStation Now thing that seemed like a win yesterday, and not a huge win, but a win. You're like, oh, Borderlands 3, a fantastic game. Still the PlayStation 4 version, even if you have PlayStation 5, which again makes sense. But if you were like me yesterday, I don't subscribe to PlayStation Now. I saw that, and that's sort of like, oh, that's cool. It never even dawned on me that, oh, you're still getting the PlayStation 4 version rather than the free upgrade that would be there for you. But who knows? Speaking of Borderlands, though, number 3, Greg Way, we have some Borderlands movie details from you. This is from Matt TM Kim over at IGN.com. The Borderlands movie has added Edgar Ramirez to its growing cast, who will play a character named Atlas. In the video game series, Atlas is the name of one of the major corporations and gun manufacturers. Furthermore, Lionsgate revealed the official plot for the upcoming movie. According to the official press release, Ramirez will play, quote, business titan and arms manufacturer Atlas, so presumably the company's founder. The release says at the time of the movie, Atlas is, quote, the most powerful person in the universe. According to Lionsgate, here's the official synopsis for the movie. So if you don't want spoilers for the Borderlands movie, tune out for 2 paragraphs. Two-time Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett teams up with Kevin Hart in director Eli Roth's Borderlands. Lilith, parentheses, Blanchett, an infamous outlaw with a mysterious past, reluctantly returns to her home planet of Pandora to find the missing daughter of the universe's most powerful son of a bitch, Atlas, parentheses, Ramirez. Lilith forms an alliance with an unexpected team. Roland, Hart, a former elite mercenary, now desperate for redemption. Tiny Tina, Greenblatt, feral preteen demolitionist. Krieg, Manitou, Tina's muscle-bound rhetorically challenged protector, Tanis, Jamie Lee Curtis, the scientist who with a tenuous grip on sanity, and Claptrap, Jack Black, a persistently wise-ass robot. These unlikely heroes must battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to find and protect the missing girl, who may hold the key to unimaginable power. The fate of the universe could be in their hands, but they'll be fighting for something more, each other. Based on the game from Gearbox and 2K, one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time, welcome to Borderlands. Gary, am I allowed to get my hopes up? I like this cast a lot. I like Borderlands a lot. I want to believe this movie could be really
why not? Look, really, really impressive cast. They're working closely with Gearbox. They're obviously taking it seriously. Sonic the Hedgehog proved that you can make a really good video game movie. It's not an unbreakable curse. We'll know in a couple of weeks, but the new Mortal Kombat movie, there's very, very encouraging signs around that.
They make a knife out of blood. That's awesome.
It's cool. Doable. It's doable. So, it's a good, Borderlands is a fun world with lots of fun characters. I think they have a decent shot. Well, why not get, you're allowed to be excited. Of course you are.
It's one of those things I like what they're putting on paper. You never know how a video game movie is going to turn out. So I'm not like, getting crazy about it, but it's interesting enough that I'm interested and I want to see what happens. Randy Pitchford on Twitter, of course, from Gearbox, head of Gearbox, put this out. To the interested, the Borderlands cinematic universe is not identical to the Borderlands video game universe. We are authentic to the characters, tone, and style, but allow for independent storylines. The mediums are not the same, so the content should not be bound to the same rules. Also, Randy Pitchford did not burp in the middle of his tweet. That was me. I added that. I apologize. So there you go, if anybody was worried about that, which I guess people were. But as a Borderlands fan, reading the synopsis, I was like, well, this isn't the universe of the movie, but I digress. Gary, I'm excited to get to the 4th story on the Roper Report, but that's still so far away. Instead, let me tell you about patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can go to get the show ad-free along with the exclusive post show. But right now we just care about the ads because you're not watching on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Today we're brought to you by Honey. We all shop online, and we've all seen the promo code fields haunt us at checkout. But thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. They range from sites that have tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands, even food delivery. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you go to checkout, the Honey button drops down, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches the coupons on that site. If Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch as the prices drop. Kind of Funny loves Honey, and then they put a Tim Geddes in here. How many times have I done an ad read for Honey, and I tell you all the time, I'm Greg Miller, and I believe in Honey. It's right there. I'm tapping my screen right there. The little H is on my browser bar. It's right there. I can click on it when I'm logged in because I'm logged in. It'll track the amount of coupons I use, which earn me Honey coins, which I can then redeem for gift cards on Amazon like I do. It's amazing. It's free. You all should be using it. It works on any browser and installs in like 3 clicks. Honey has found it's over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. I'd never recommend something I don't use. Greg Miller, right there. Honey, it's up there. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/games. That's joinhoney.com/games. Get it. Our next sponsor is Fixture Gaming. We wanted to talk about a special Kind of Funny best friend today. Have you ever used your Nintendo Switch for a long time and afterwards your wrists and shoulders were sore? I have. Turns out the Nintendo Switch isn't the most ergonomic device. Sometimes you just want to use a Pro controller and still play on the go. Our friend Austin Stark had an idea to fix that, the Fixture S1. We met Austin a while back at the San Francisco meet and greet, and he showed us the Fixture S1 when it was known as the Switch Fix at the time, and we were blown away by how comfortable and sturdy it was. Again, this is a written ad, but if you remember, you can go to the Gamescast where he gave me mine, and I use it all the time when I used it all the time when I traveled all the time. Now when I sit on the couch, I'll use it as well. I digress. Since then, we use the Fixture S1 pretty regularly. You just slide on the Nintendo Switch, attach the Pro controller, and you can take your Switch and Pro controller with you anywhere. You can also use it as a stand for the Switch. The Fixture S1 comes in 2 colors, gray and red/blue. It has completely changed the way we play our Nintendo Switches, and we're thrilled to announce that the Fixture S1 is on sale this week for 20% off on the Fixture Gaming website. If you want to check it out, please go to fixturegaming.com. Thanks again to Austin and the Fixture Gaming team for sponsoring this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily. Again, that's the stuff they all wrote in, but I've talked about it many times. I've shown you many a photo. Whenever you see me taking a photo of my Switch on a plane, it's usually in the cradle of my Fixture S1. I can't recommend it enough. Fixturegaming.com. Gary, the final news story I have for you, number 4 on the Roper Report for this Widow Wednesday on a Tuesday is, Gary, are you buying these Build-A-Bear Animal Crossing things? Kevin, I gave you an image to throw up there. I don't know if you've seen these yet, Gary. Look at them, and I'm going to read a little bit from IGN.com's Rebekah Valentine. This morning, Build-A-Bear and Animal Crossing officially revealed stuffed toys. They announced a partnership last month. It's Isabelle and Tom Nook, but you might not be able to get one today. When 8 a.m. hit, I was told my estimated wait time, this is Rebekah, was more than an hour, and I'm still in that as the time of this being written. There's a tiny progress bar on my screen that inches forward every so often, but after 40 minutes in the queue, it's not really gone anywhere, and my wait is still over an hour. I can sign up to be notified by email when it's my turn, but I'm worried that closing this window will cause me to lose my place. Isabelle and Tom Nook were only available for pre-order online today and come with their own summer outfit and either music or spoken phrases included when you give them a squeeze. They're limited to 1 per person too. The Build-A-Bear's website, FAQ, says the toys will reappear online in the future once they sell out, but does not specify when, though it does indicate that they will also come to physical stores sometime this summer. Gary, we're looking at them right now here. You got Tom Nook, you got Isabelle. You buying this? Is this something your daughter wants?
I mean, I have no doubt that it is something that my daughter will very much want because she loves Build-A-Bear. We've done several Build-A-Bears, and she, of course, loves Animal Crossing. I think I'm right in saying that my wife has not even told her about this because she's going to want one. We know she's not going to be able to get one anytime soon because, again, you're seeing this story here. We weren't able to get the Pokemon Animal Crossing, the Pokemon Happy Meal cards. We weren't able to get the Sanrio Animal Crossing cards from Target, and I very much doubt we'll be able to get these Build-A-Bear Animal Crossing characters anytime soon. You know why, Greg? Because it's these fucking 40-year-old neckbeards that go out everywhere.
Whoa.
They fucking go there at 2:00 in the morning. They camp out. They buy everyone in the store so they can go home and put them in a fucking glass case, mint condition in box, and then go on the fucking internet and complain about the worst Build-A-Bear ever. Like whatever the fucking shit is that this is why my kid can't have nice things, Greg.
Yeah.
My kid can't have nice things.
I'm sorry, man.
And that's my only job as a dad. And these fuckers are fucking it up.
Man, this is harsh.
But I mean,
and I'm just sorry. What's that?
I was gonna say like adults are also allowed to have things, and like Rebekah Valentine wanted to get one. You know.
But she's a neckbeard. She's ruining it for Gary's kid.
I guess.
I mean, I think like people like Rebekah like genuinely loves this stuff, and I think like she's as much of a big kid as my daughter is. She genuinely has like true affection and love for this stuff. And yeah, you don't age it. I'm just joking around. You could buy this stuff anytime that you want, but it's the people that go buy. The other thing is the fucking scalpers, Greg. They go buy them or so they can sell them on eBay. That's the real problem. But no, look, the bottom line, I think this is a very smart team up between Build-A-Bear and Animal Crossing. It's peanut butter and jelly. Kids are gonna love it. I honestly, I joke about the neckbeards, but 90% of this, I guarantee you, is moms and dads trying to lock this down for their kids day one. That is the reason, though, that I don't think we've even told our kid that these are coming, because we're not. I'm not going to sit at home fucking hitting F4 all day trying to get in.
You only do that for the shit you want.
Yeah, for the shit, exactly. If it's important to me, I'll make an effort. For the new iPhone or whatever in the right color, I'll fucking stay up all night. But if it's something my kid wants, no, look, obviously I want my kid to have this. We'll get them when we're not going to break our necks trying to get them.
I'm surprised, it seems like a missed opportunity on the marketing department for Build-A-Bear that they didn't hit up Animal Talking, get a Build-A-Bear to you guys, I mean,
Animal Talking is yesterday's news, isn't it? It was the hottest talk show 2020, Greg, but it's now 2021. You got to move on to the next thing.
Speaking of moving on to the next thing,
Greg, you know what the hottest talk show in 2021 is, don't you?
Englishman in Los Santos, but you have a time. Now you have a thing inside of it, right?
It's moved on. It's Los Santos After Dark with Carson Longcock. I actually just put the first episode is up on YouTube, Greg. Fuck you. I'm putting the link into the chat right now.
Do it. What do you mean, fuck me? Do it. I don't care. YouTube.com/Gary Whitta. That works, right?
Go to the YouTube video, like and subscribe. There's going to be more episodes of Carson Longcock's new late night Los Santos talk show coming up. Go check it out. Anyway, sorry.
It's not that you just pivot so fast. I knew you were doing a talk show, and I knew the guy had a weird, suggestive name.
Everyone said do a talk show inside GTA, and I want to do the same joke before because I did it with Animal Crossing, did it with Fall Guys. So rather than just do a talk show inside Los Santos, inside GTA, we're doing a show about a talk show host who's trying to do a talk show. So it's more kind of a Larry Sanders, Alan Partridge kind of a vibe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, I'll let you know, a lot of people saying fuck you, Greg. A lot of people saying fuck you, Greg, in the chat right now.
That's what a lot of people can get behind, Greg. I know how to drop the crowd pleasers. Anytime I tell you to fuck yourself, the crowd loves it. They love it. You've got to give the people what they want, Greg. That's the first rule of showbiz.
Gary, I can't wait for you and me to keep giving the people what they want for the next several years, but the next several years are so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grop shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software on each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily show hosts each and every weekday. Out today, Red Dead Online celebrates the great outdoors this week with double Red Dead Online dollars and XP on all animal sample sales and all free roam fishing challenges, now occurring more frequently while likewise paying you double. Monster Hunter Rise patch update version 1.1.2 is available today, addressing the bug that caused save data to be inaccessible if the action/hurt pose sets were set to the action bar or radio menu. Eddie at GameSpot reports a new update for Call of Duty Warzone is rolling out now, featuring changes to weapons, attachments, and more. Perhaps the most notable change is the FFAR. In short, it's getting a nerf because it's proving to be too effective overall. Oddworld's
Oddworld Soulstorm comes to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC. PlayStation Plus game free too as well today. And it's from friend of the show, Lauren Lanning, who has always supported Kind of Funny and been fantastic to us. And I have an incredibly small part in it, so tell me when you find me. Lost Worlds Beyond the Page comes to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Star Wars Republic Commando is on PlayStation 4 and Switch. Breath Edge is on PS4. Maybe it's Breathe Edge? Breath Edge? Breathe Edge? PS4, Xbox One, Switch. Colony Ship, a post-Earth role-playing game, is on PC. The Slormancer is on PC, and Stacks on Stacks on Stacks is on Switch. New dates for you. Galactic Mining Corp lands May 18th on Steam. Galactic Crew 2 is coming to Steam on May 6th. The Colonist is coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch on May 4th. And then DC Universe Online introduces the world of Flashpoint on April 15th. Zabekill says it's Lost Words, not Lost Worlds. Sorry if I bungled that. Lost Words. Oh, I see, because it's a typo from the Kotaku page I stole it from. Lost Words Beyond the Page comes to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Also interesting to note that that game sounds really cool, and Blessing showed it to me, and I'm going to play it, so I'm excited about that one. Deals of the day for you. I have an Xbox Game Pass update. The best deal in gaming, Gary, continues to get better. April 8th, you get Grand Theft Auto 5 on console and cloud, Zombie Army 4 Dead War on console, cloud, and PC, Disneyland Adventures on cloud, Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure on cloud. Then April 12th, you get NHL 21 on console via EA Play. Rain on Your Parade comes April 15th to cloud, console, and PC. Also April 15th is Pathway on PC, and then MLB The Show 21 comes April 20th to cloud and
That's the big one. That's the big one. Is that crossplay, by the way? Did we ever figure that out?
I thought it was cross. Yeah, it is crossplay. No, it's crossplay. I'm gonna double check just to make sure.
I'm definitely going to want to play that with Snowbike. We're both on Xbox, but if you and I want to play, we might have to play crossplay because I know we can't get you off that fucking PlayStation.
With cross-platform play in progress, you can play against others online and earn and use content across the platforms and the generation you choose. Why? I hear you, but I've been firmly covering PlayStation for 14 years, and I've never been a big show guy, so I don't think I'm going to be.
Oh, you're not a baseball guy?
No, I mean I like
I'll play with Snowbike.
When are we playing Outriders? That's got the crossplay. I mean, come on now.
I mean, it's interesting. I guess I don't know if it's like been formally covered in any way, but the vibe I'm getting is that Outriders seems to be a big hit. The numbers it's putting up on Steam alone are massive.
Yeah, it's been covered. Yeah, we know that Outriders is a big hit.
Currents of Borderlands 3 had it at its highest point, so it's doing really well.
Steam over there.
Brand new game. Good for them. I don't know. I got too many other between the GTA stuff and It Takes Two, which by the way is a fucking masterpiece. I've been playing that with my kid. Unbelievable. Joseph Fares, another banger. 3 out of 3. 3 out of 3. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, A Way Out, and now It Takes Two. 3 fucking amazing games in a row. Joseph Fares is the man. Sorry, a bit of an aside there. I'm probably not going to play Outriders.
Cool. Hey, man, play. We got to play. Speaking of Outriders, Greg Way, let's squad up. This is where one of you writes in on patreon.com/kindafunnygames with your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Sam needs help on Xbox, but there's crossplay, he says. His Xbox username is GKSam10. So that's GKSAM10. Hey, y'all. Looking for some new Kind of Funny best friends to play Outriders with. I usually play solo, but I'm starting to hit the point where I'm really struggling with World Tier 5, so I thought it'd be cool to see if anyone else wanted to hop in and play with me, play the new hotness with me. Right now, I'm level 16, World Tier 5. If you want to play Outriders with Sam, hit him up on Xbox, GKSAM10. Get out there, Outriders. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask all of you watching on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Nanobiologist gets me the information I was struggling with. E3 is 4 days when I was like, I don't know how to add these days up that quickly. He also says the Guerrilla Collective has been announced for June 2021 with no specific dates announced yet. Refresh writes in and says, Gary said he wouldn't keep hitting F4 all day long for an Animal Crossing bear. F5 is the key you need to refresh. Duh.
Well, that's why I'm not getting any of the stuff. I've been hitting the wrong key all these years, Greg.
There you go. Zabe Kill says Gary is wrong. 2021 needs animal talking also.
Oh.
Nah, we're done with animal talking. We moved on.
Oh man, that's sad. Nanobiologist says I missed a new date. Diablo 2 Resurrected's technical alpha begins April 8th. And then Venomtron has one here that I understand. It sounded like Greg said Oddworld was a PlayStation Plus game for both PS4 and PS5, but it's just for PS5 users. Great call. Of course, go redeem all your PlayStation Plus games, though, so you have a library built. But thank you very much for keeping me honest, Venomtron. Tomorrow, you'll need to keep honest Blessing and Andy Cortez. Thursday, it'll be me and Tim. And then Friday, Blessing and me to close out your work week. If you're watching live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames right now, Snowbike Mike is about to roll in with yet another daily stream to hang out with you. What do we got over here, Kevin? You know what's cooking? It looks like it's Nick, Andy, and Tim again.
Walk on lava, hot lava. Yeah, it's those four. It's the what does he call them? He calls them something. Go ahead, you got it.
The party mode jabronis is what I'm calling them.
That's it. You nailed it. The party.
Go over there, check that out. If you aren't watching live, you want to catch that content later, of course, you can go to our new YouTube channel, youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. That is all of the archives of our Twitch stuff, so we don't get DMCA'd on Twitch, and you can still watch it whenever you want to over on YouTube. Right now, we have to go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and give you guys the post show over there you rightfully deserve. Remember, if you aren't going to go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and support us, no big deal. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, and of course, podcast services around the globe. Gary, before we go, do you want to promote your long cock talk show again or something like that?
Sure.
Hold on 1 second. No, the character's name something long cock, so it's not weird. Isn't he?
Do you want to promote your cock, Gary?
That's what I did say it like that, Jen, but there's a character named Long Cock, so we're not talking about Gary's long cock in the way you think.
Working as intended.
You know what I mean? Lord Almighty over here. You know what I mean? Dirty mind on her. Gary, back to you.
Twitch.tv/Gary Witter. That's where we're doing the live streams. I have 2 characters out now that I play on the No Pixel GTA role-playing server. Gary Mitchell, the East End gangster currently laying low in Los Santos, and Carson Longcock, the disgraced former Liberty City. I said Liberty Titty. Liberty Titty, Greg. Longcock and Liberty Titty. It's all happening. Former Liberty City talk show host who had his show canceled, was run out of town after he accidentally blew up one of his guests during a live 4th of July special due to faulty pyrotechnics. He's now out in Los Santos trying to resurrect his career by starting a new talk show. And again, I'll drop the link to the specific first episode into the chat, but go to youtube.com/Gary Witter or go to twitch.tv/Gary Witter. The live streams are on Twitch, and the curated episode highlights are on YouTube. Please come by.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a post show to do on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, but until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.